food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon.
Okay, welcome back. And when we left off, we were heading to the dock to catch the ferry over to Caye Caulker. Couple little notes I want to make is you might hear some noises that sound like dishes. Well, in order to really feel the vibe of our vacation, we have made some rum cocktails.
We have.
With pineapple juice and coconut. Oh, we forgot the lime. Okay, we're on the second cocktail.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
If you're wondering.
For you listening at home, it tasted much better with lime.
Yeah, lime is going to definitely help out. Anyway, so we're on the dock and we're heading to Caye Caulker, which is an island on the Barrier Reef. It's about a mile from the island to the Barrier Reef. And you could see the waves breaking out there. It was pretty incredible. It's really amazing.
It was both pretty and incredible.
So we get to the dock and we need to have lunch, and so we go to this little restaurant there, and that's where we have the soursop juice, and we get our first authentic Belizean meal, because up to that point we've been cooking for ourselves. And so we get this coconut rice, this traditional lunch that is coconut rice and beans, and then you get stewed chicken, or you have your option of different meats that you can order. So I get the stewed chicken. Yeah. And it comes with plantains that were just so perfectly caramelized. They were amazing. Really Brett got the fish.
I got the fish, yes. My gringo mistake. I remember it was there was the menu, there was the fresh today sort of part of it, and there was the special. And it was, this, and then the coconut rice, and then your choice of protein. And so, I think it was the stewed chicken, or in my case, the fish. I forget all the other options, but there were several.
Yeah.
And so I just presumed I had ordered the special with fish, but it turns out that the special with fish was
a little
two
more
or three
expensive,
times as much as your special with chicken, which was the special of the day.
It was delicious and amazing, and that was the first Belizean meal that we had. And then our friends showed up, and so we got to meet everybody before we got onto the ferry. And the watermelon juice was amazing. Then we went to the island. It took about an hour to take the ferry over there, and we were staying in the Sunny Cabana, and our friends were staying at the Pink House. So we had to get these. They don't have any cars on the island. They're only golf carts. Mm-hmm. So we arranged a couple golf carts to take all 8 of us and our luggage back to the place, back to our
cabana.
Cabana,
to our sunny cabana.
And we had to stop by our host's place to get the keys first. So we did that, and the drivers were really nice.
And that was Willey's.
Yeah,
it was actually
Willey's. So we got to know where the restaurant was right before.
We knew where we lived.
Knew where we lived, yeah. So, and the roads all on Caye Caulker are sand. And it had just rained that morning. It was funny because it rained the following Friday as well. Yep. And so all the potholes were on the road, on the sandy road, were just filled with this milky water, which was real weird. But that was, so we get to our cabana, they drop us off, and they're like, okay, see you later. We found out, we got an idea of where they lived, and then we just went in and had to set up house. And so we unpacked our rum, and we had gotten some coconut water and juice on the way, so that was helpful.
So we just basically unpacked.
Yeah, so we unpacked and had a rum drink right there at our cabana, which was nice.
Got our swimming costumes on, and then went around literally what turned out to be around about a block around 2 corners.
Yeah, they were right there.
Their place,
and they had a pool and they had a dock, so we kind of lucked out. We were just landlocked where we were. I mean, it's the whole island is quarter mile wide, but
yeah, there are places where it's literally a block from one coast to the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so we got there and jumped in the sea immediately and snorkeling around.
So the island, the sort of theme of the island, or a saying that they say a lot, is go slow. So you're on island time, and we're there. We know we're there for 8 days. We're going to get this like real like laid back experience. So we go out to dinner the first night. Like, I think we got there. It was probably about 5:30 when we got to our cabanas or whatever. And then we went back to their house. We decided to ride our bikes into town, which was probably about a half a mile.
Yeah, but just so easy.
And so we rode our bikes into town and found this restaurant, and it was right on the dock, like near where we had gotten off the boat.
I think we'd already...
We didn't venture very far.
No, I think we were called in by its current crier, and we just decided to come back there.
So when we got off the ferry, there was a dude like saying, "Oh, you can get a bucket of beer for $20," and that was like $10, and you get 6 beers or whatever. Didn't really sound like a great idea to me, but when you say a bucket of beer for $20, that's awesome. Whatever. So we went back there for dinner because it was right on the Caribbean Sea. It was beautiful, and there was such a breeze, and they had swings for some of the seats.
Yeah,
so like giant swing set. It was awesome. So we ordered dinner and cocktails, and the cocktails came pretty much right away, and our friends just ordered appetizers. And so we waited quite a long time for our food to get there. It was probably about an hour before our food got there. And they had just ordered appetizers. And so this was the island time thing. Yeah. And they had no idea it was going to take that long to get food. But
to the point that, if memory serves, they were hungry by the time our food arrived.
They were hungry, and they only had appetizers, and they decided not. So something went awry that night. But anyway.
Would it be vacation if something didn't go awry every night? It would. Memory serves, I had coconut curry with conch coconut curry. It was yummy. I can't remember what you had. Maybe the chicken.
I had the chicken again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. And then let's see. What else do we want to make sure that we mention? So everything was really fresh. That was one thing that really struck us, is that the produce, the fish, all the seafood, everything was just so fresh.
Yeah, it was kind of funny getting off of the ferry and realizing that there was, there were like just guys waiting to load up bikes with produce that friends had sent over.
Oh, that came on the ferry, yeah.
And so, like, that's how you got fresh produce. It literally just came from Belize City.
Yeah. Well, actually, Caye Caulker is actually part of the municipality of Belize City.
Yeah.
So that was interesting because it takes an hour to get there.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very
but it is actually part of the city. So, yeah, everything is shipped over daily. Yep. And it's all super fresh, and it was just amazing. So we've got all the produce and the fish and the coconut rice and beans and stewed chicken. Turns out to be the super traditional dish. And they make a lot of plantains, and oh my God, we just ate so well. There was this one Cuban place that we went to for tacos.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, on the second. Well, we went there on the second day, and then we went back again anytime we just needed a taco fix because it was just so fresh. It was like cucumbers and onions and tomatoes chopped up, and
like you said, I mean, it was a Cuban take on a taco, so it was done in a rather different shell than typical. I thought it wasn't even like the traditional masa harina. It was. It was the burrito that they did that was like in like the fry jack kind of dough. And
fry jack is another thing. That's another real popular food on the island the fry jack.
If you're ever in Belize, ladies and gentlemen, I do recommend a fry jack for breakfast.
It's essentially
it might take two of you.
It's like a big, let's say, tortilla shape for sake of a
but it's a sweeter dough, but it does bubble up like a naan or like a exactly.
Yeah, so it's like the bread, and then they put in...
It's a pancake, but not.
And they put in there, like, usually all the time it's beans and then rice, and then they put, like, the one that I had like chickens and... chickens.
It was big enough. I can believe there was more than one chicken in there. It had
chicken and onions and salsa and, like, I don't know what all was in there. It was like the kitchen sink, and I got that for breakfast, and it filled me really well, yeah. And Brett got the egg and bacon one, Egg and ham and
cheese and beans and rice. And it was just so
good.
Yeah, just so good. I mean...
And there were a couple of fried jack
to be clear, places. I mean, we're not talking gastronomique. We're talking...
Yum.
Just... really good street food.
Yep.
I mean, what you should be expecting from this sort of experience. Just really good street food. Mm-hmm. And, it's so sustaining, really, just lovely and tasty. And
Yeah.
then the traditional fare, like I said, the curries, and I guess that sort of multiculturalism that is literally the base of that
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
It means you've got this weird mix where the Cuban isn't quite perfectly Cuban, and you've got like you said, the stew chicken or the Caribbean curry base, or the more West Indian curry base, or there are variants on the form that sit side by side practically everywhere you go.
Yeah. Main thing
so
being
lovely.
tasty. So, like
And
we
fresh,
mentioned,
like you
that
said.
and fresh. Like we said, our host was Monique, staying at the Sunny Cabana, and she was actually out of town, and her husband Maurice was our stand-in host, and he owns a restaurant called Wish Willey on the island. Now, a Wish Willey is a type of
It's not what you're thinking.
lizard, iguana, I don't know,
Yeah,
some
it's
sort of
certainly
scaly animal,
it's definitely. I think it's.
black and white stripes.
I think it's definitely related to iguana. I need to go and
Yeah.
do the old Wikipedia check, but
Yeah, we'll look that
it's
up.
it's definitely related to them. I feel like, because I feel like it's vegetarian from what I saw in its behavior.
I do not know.
And they
this
do.
stuff. I did
They
meet
have
with
the
it.
banded tail, long
Yeah.
banded tail of an iguana, but of course we also grace with iguanas all over as well.
The Wish Willey, like, we found out that the name, we knew we were staying at a place, and Wish Willey was the restaurant of the owner's husband. And when we were over in the mainland, we saw one of these lizard things in the middle of the road, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's that thing? Is it something dead? And our driver was like, Patricia was like, no, that's what we call a Wish Willey. And she kind of giggled, I guess, because she knew we'd
She
giggle.
obviously, yeah.
And I was like,
Obviously
oh my
we
god,
weren't
that's
her
a Wish
first
Willey.
American
So that's how we
visitors.
found out that that's what the name of the restaurant is from. So anyway, I wanted to totally go there for my birthday. My birthday was on the Sunday.
Right.
So we ended up, what did we do? We did a lot of things. We saw the tarpon, we saw the seahorses, and then we went to the Cuban place for lunch, and then we went to Wish Willey's for dinner.
Right.
And all of our friends came with us, which was really great. And it was just a lovely place. It's like essentially someone's backyard.
I mean, if he's listening to this, he's not going to like me for this.
Maurice,
But there
we
was,
love you.
I think it was just because
We had such a good time.
It was just a flyby. The first visit was such a flyby that it was a scant review of the true situation.
Oh,
and
Brett's,
so it
sorry,
looked to
Brett's
me,
referring to the time when we arrived and we
Yeah.
stopped to get the keys.
So-
It was the daytime.
So we knew we wanted to go there. We knew that the guy could cook. We'd already, we'd done enough of our homework to know this. But it really did look, to all intents and purposes, well, it looked like my yard, which looks like a scrap yard with flowers. And so when we got
This was
back...
a tropical scrapyard.
Yes,
It was
this is
great.
it. So
Tables.
So,
Yeah,
this is it. There's all kinds of stuff that just lives outside. And of course, within a few hours between seeing that and then coming back there, you realise the practicality of all of this. And of course, it's, it's also the gear for their various rentals, so kayaks and things like that. So it was
Extra
all
bikes,
it was
because
all
my bike broke. I
practical
had to get a new
stuff.
bike, yeah.
It was all stuff that made sense. It was all things in process. It was fabrics drying for tablecloths. It was kayaks waiting to go out on the water. It was, grills waiting to be used.
Yep.
And then you arrive there in the evening, and those grills waiting to be used are all smelling wonderful, and the flowers are all evening scented, and the place is just a freaking delight, and you don't
Yeah.
want to be anywhere else. It is
was
rustic
beautiful.
for sure, but it is just the best circumstance.
Yep.
And then the carefree, again, the island time logic there was more personal. It was like,
Yeah.
you did place your order, or he would just bring you food, and then he'd take your money for it, but you would be nothing other than delighted.
Yeah.
And I think you ordered shrimp because you were still not quite ready to make the giant step.
I wasn't eating fish at that point, but the next day. Anyway, I did want to mention that, like, it gets dark there around 6:30 because it's further south, so it gets dark around 6:30 almost every day year round, around that, like, pretty earlier than it does here. And so that makes such a difference in your environment too, because he had candles around and little torches, and so you've got the sky and the trees and just darkness above you, so it kind of gives you a whole different environment. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
And then it's all
and
underlit.
The fragrances,
It's underlit, and so all of those flowering trees and things that don't look particularly spectacular in the daylight are just a blissful canopy.
Yeah, it's really nice. Oh, and the dogs. There's a rent-a-dog system that
for sure.
gets around the island.
For sure, it's one of my favorite
they're not
things.
dogs that are like begging for food. They're just dogs that are like, I will come and hang out with you while you hang out here. And we're like, yeah, this is great.
We'll sit and be a good companion for, say, head scritches?
Yeah.
Belly rubs?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Maybe a little snack, maybe a snack, but
there was
their main
definitely
thing. There were a couple dogs.
There was a couple of those, but most of them were that. I love that, and I feel like we had that in Ecuador too.
Yeah,
they were just like the dogs in the street. They were just like, I'm gonna come and be your buddy for half an hour. Is that okay?
Yeah, it was nice.
I love that.
Yeah, it was good. So anyway, Wish Willey's. I got the shrimp, and Brett got the fish, and I think everybody else got like shrimp, fish, whatever, chicken, and it was really good. Conch, like it was, and so it's like pretty much like rice and vegetables and meat, and it's just like real hearty, healthy. And the beer is like help yourself. There's a cooler. You could get beer, you could get soda, and then you just like add up your bottles at the end. Tell him how many beers you had, and then the food, and he gives you a price. It's like super chill. So.
And it was again, it was one of those places.
But anyway, it was delicious. That's the point.
I mean, I'm still so happily sort of surprised that we knew we were going to eat there because we knew that he ran a restaurant, and we, of course, you're going to eat at your host restaurant.
Yep.
What I didn't expect was that he was going to be definitively the 3 best meals we had the entire time we were there.
So we should say a little bit about Wish Willey's and about Maurice. So Maurice, from what I understand, from what his wife told me, I tried to interview him, and maybe someday Maurice will have an interview.
Some of what Maurice might tell you might be true. I think there is, but also some of it.
I didn't get the chance to interview him. He was real super busy because Monique was out of the country and on doing other business, but it was really great. It was amazing food, and I wish I had gotten a chance to interview Maurice, but I didn't get to because he was super busy since his wife was out of town.
I mean, I love him, but I also feel he was being evasive. I don't think he wanted to play.
He had to like clean sheets.
I'm really sorry he didn't want to play because he was such a great character, such a wonderful, surly, smart.
We'll be back.
He definitively.
Maurice, we will be back.
As an advocate for the island, I want to go and visit the mainland, but I do want to go and visit him again.
Yep.
And I also want to meet any woman that can keep him in line. And like I said, I want to out him because I don't know if Monique actually appreciates it because, like I said, there's a snarkiness to this guy. He missed you, Monique. He missed you very much. So there you go. He's a big softie. And he's lovely, and he's a hell of a chef. But I think didn't
that was
he?
Really great.
Didn't he? I mean, again, I don't know what is full on truth, but didn't he live and study culinary arts in Chicago?
What Monique told me was that he grew up in Belize, and then was born in Belize. And then grew up in Chicago and studied culinary arts in Chicago, and then moved back to Belize to have a restaurant.
That would explain why he was the first one in our company to complain about the heat.
Oh no, Patricia was also complaining on mainland because it was.
That's
true.
It
was particularly hot.
No, that's true. All the locals were, but.
Yeah.
But I felt
so we went there for my birthday dinner, and then we mentioned to him that our friends, all the rest of them, were going deep sea fishing the next day, and he was like, "Oh, have them send the catch to me, and I'll prepare it for you." And they were like, "Yeah, let's do that." So the next day they went deep sea fishing, and most of them got seasick. So I was really grateful that I didn't go because I know I for sure would have gotten seasick.
Yep.
But they caught red snapper.
Some other kind of snapper. I can't remember. Was it rainbow snapper? Or,
I don't know.
I can't remember.
But I think we ate the red snapper and the barracuda.
Barracuda. Yeah.
And freaking great stories about that too. So they bring up the red snapper is a real deep sea fish, and they bring up the red snapper
from like 400 foot down or something.
And my friend Emily is like, its eyes were on the outside. And I kept looking at it thinking, shouldn't the eyes be on the inside? And then she realized that it came up from 400 feet of pressure and was like thrust through the water into sea level. And so its eyes popped out and some of its guts kind of popped out. And so that's just what happened. So the snappers come up and they're pretty much dead. So they put them in the icebox. The barracudas, however, are more surface fish.
Yep.
So they catch the barracudas, and these things are like beasts. They want to eat your face. And so they bring them out of the fishermen, the captains or whatever, would grab it and beat it with a pole, with a
pipe or something.
Yeah, metal pipe. And so one time, so they beat it with the pipe, and then they hand it to my friend to get a picture. And Jamie grabs this fish, and the fish like leaps out of its arms because it's still alive and runs after it flies through the air after Emily. There's actually a picture they have of it, which is hilarious. Anyway, so we ate
that bastard. We weren't putting up with that, but I don't know about you, but I was seriously surprised. I always imagined, a barracuda. It has to be. I always imagined it would be a meaty fish. Mm-hmm. I figured it would be dense, but I was really surprised when he turned that up and it was that
flaky,
beautiful, flaky fillet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still a meaty fish. But
totally
it was
was
so flavorful. It was. I had no expectation.
And I have to say, because
like
this is a big evolution part for me. This is part of my personal food evolution.
You have no idea,
hugely.
dear listeners. No.
My experience with fish has been being traumatized by fish sticks when I was 6. Vividly,
which graduates
this.
to, you've been away. You've eaten fish. You're not allowed in the house for 3 days.
It's the fishy smell that I just can't stand. So you know what I'm talking about. And like tuna fish and like tuna salad, like blah, 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 blah. I just can't stand that smell. But Brett, for now 27 years, has been saying it doesn't taste like that. I'm like, I can't get past the smell. So anyway, our friends went out deep sea fishing, and my theory has been if I ever went fishing and caught something, I would have to try it, because we were talking about going to, and we will go to Madagascar someday, and it's an island and they eat a lot of fish there. So I'm going to have to get around that. I figured that, living vicariously through my friends, they went out and got seasick, deep sea fishing.
Those heroes, those noble
heroes. The least I could do is to try this fish in honor of them, having sacrificed their breakfast to these fish.
to draw in the fish.
Yeah. And it was really good. It was really delicious. I really enjoyed it. And I mean, obviously it had something to do with the way that Maurice prepared it.
No, I think since of course.
Okay.
No, of course. It was supremely well prepared. It was gorgeous. But I really think we tripped over the what earlier, and it was just the supreme freshness of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally been caught that day from local waters, filleted well and locally, and dropped right off. And you could not ask for a fresher cut of fish. And as much as I love it, I have to agree. I go to a fish market, and that smell to me is portentous, and so I'm fine with it. But I would also never argue with you that it's a pretty smell. I would never. But like I said, I still associate it with an end result that I enjoy, and I know I'm going to enjoy that fish. I'm going to enjoy that texture. I'm going to enjoy that flavor. And
you're more of a connoisseur of fish. I'm
but anybody else that's never been, no, get over it, you silly child, it's whatever, is going to be convinced that something good comes out of the smell of a fish market. I totally empathise, but so I do think there's that. I mean, I think that supreme freshness it translated it is just it is a different thing. I mean, a couple of days later when we went back, and we'd gone snorkeling, and the guy, our host, our captain, also arranged by Maurice, has decided these guys are okay. I'm not going to worry about their safety. I'm going conch hunting, and so just basically filled up the boat with conch before we got back.
So we were kind of in the middle of the Caribbean with a boat floating, and we were in the water, and we're just like, okay, we're all alone out here.
Yeah, I am not having my usual snorkeling panic attacks or anything. No.
Totally you were.
Well, yeah, but I deal with it well. I deal with it by basically just going face down and going, well, it might be the last thing I see, but isn't it beautiful? It was so beautiful.
It was, it's actually the second greatest barrier reef to Australia. And some people say it might be the greatest barrier reef in the world because Australia's is dying so quickly. So it was really interesting. And I got an underwater camera specifically for this trip. So I have some pictures I can show.
Take that, Southern Hemisphere.
Oh my gosh, we had such a great time in the water there. And the pictures we got were amazing. One of the most memorable was with the stingrays. There's this place called Iguana Reef, and it's the best place for sunsets on Caye Caulker.
Yeah, that took us a shameful number of days
to
like realise that sunset. Yes, but the island is regularly 1 or 2 blocks wide.
I know.
It shouldn't have taken us 3 days to realise that if we walk 2 blocks that way, we can enjoy a sunset.
Yeah, but this was like a really
on open ocean.
But we had no idea this was there until we went and saw the tarpons and then found the seahorses, and that was like this amazing.
Oh no, I'm going to credit us with some dumbassery in that regard.
Okay. Anyway, so at Iguana Reef Inn, it was amazing to go for sunset. But they also had this thing where they fed the stingrays. And they said that they fed the stingrays around 4 p.m. But it turned out to be more like 5:30. It was closer to sunset. So maybe that was for a different season.
They usually start coming in around 4 is what I think they said, and they did.
Well, that one woman had been by there like 4 times.
Oh, okay.
And they hadn't done it at 4, at 4:30, at 5. It was 5:30 when we were there. So Iguana Reef Inn.
But we were on island time.
Yeah, island time, yeah. So Iguana Reef Inn, you go, and that's where they have this beachfront on the west coast that has great sunsets, and they feed the stingrays.
Well, I mean, to back it up on that, it's not that they, I think, just feed the stingrays. It's the fact that in his redevelopment of this place he's bought, it's an American, I think, was he Texan or something? And he's a great character in and of himself, in that he managed to deliver nothing but good news. But it is in the grumpiest ass way that you possible. You look bloody lovely.
He doesn't say bloody because he's Texas, not England.
Oh God, isn't it another great ducking day? Yeah, but he was really great. But what they'd done in development,
so you gotta talk about the
they'd expanded the beach. And so they'd opened up that frontage, and they were replanting endemic species, and then. On the dock, from the dock and everything, they had basically built underneath habitat, reef habitat. Yeah. So the reason these stingrays are returning is because they've actually built where they live for them. Mm-hmm. So they come back there, and there's those, and I think something like 7 nurse sharks that were also there extant there. So it wasn't just that we know where to go at 4:30 for free fish. It was that they were genuinely returning probably to home base.
They were creating environment for them. It was really lovely, and they did a really nice job. There were these kids there. Actually, ironically, they were students from Pitt that were there. They had been there for 2 weeks, and so they knew the drill. So they came out with a bucket of sardines, and a couple of them just like went into the water, like maybe 6-8 inches deep, and just sat down. And I was like, "Oh, can I do that?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then I sat down, and they're like, "Be still. Don't move. Be really calm." And I was like freaking out because these stingrays are swimming over my legs, and they're like, "Just be calm."
Oh, that was so awesome, though.
And it was just the most amazing feeling of having them like swim over my legs, and they're like looking for food. And so I would feed them these sardines. So you take the sardine and you put it under the water, and then they kind of come up to it with the front of their
it's like this little
front fin, the whole body is
like a
real
nose nub right at the front. And
and so then they'll sort of swim over your hand until the sardine gets into their mouth. And so one time I was just being really calm and I didn't have a sardine in my hand, and the freaking stingray swam over my hand and then tried to eat my hand. And so I felt this, like, the girl was like, oh, make sure you don't put your hand in its mouth because, it'll bite you. And I was like, oh, okay, don't do that. And then it did it. And I was like, oh, that's what it feels like to get bit by a stingray. Well, it's their plates,
not teeth.
So they just sort of, like, clamp on you slightly. And it's like, oh, not fish.
Oh, this is not fish, so
Yeah. But it was such an incredible experience. And all of my friends, all of this, including Brett, all 7 of them were standing on the dock just looking at me, like, in awe. And I'm sitting in the water with these, like, I had like 8 stingrays all over my legs and around my body, and it was just amazing.
Well, in fairness, I was getting pictures because I knew you were going to want pictures of that moment, clearly. And then I did come down and join you. And I have to say,
in the water, I sat in the water.
Well, I wasn't in, I was not in appropriate gear for that. But I was, but it wasn't, just having them swim over you, and they were so very gentle. And I was like, but you touch the top and it is totally shark skin.
Yeah.
It's like, 80 grit sandpaper as it runs past you. But the underside is astonishing. It's like muscular marshmallow in silk. It's so soft. It is so supremely, weirdly soft.
It really is,
It's kind of staggering. They're beautiful, beautiful animals.
Yeah.
But no, that was what made me laugh. You were saying about looking up at the dock, because by then I'd gotten down there, but I felt like a minute before I had registered where everybody was, and this couple was over here photographing this, and this on one side of the dock, and another couple were over there, and I know Doug was above me. And that was all. And so when you got really excited and were trying to encourage everybody in, I remember turning around, and then every beach chair that was on that side of the dock was just filled with one of every member of our group, who were all looking in the water in this kind of, oh shit, no, look on their faces. Did get Doug to come down, and he did appreciate.
Oh, and Maddie was totally into it too. He was trying to GoPro photograph the fish. So.
Oh, good.
Well, Brett, we're running out of time here, so just a couple other things that I wanted to mention. When we were wandering around one day, we were looking for baked goods, I think. So we went to this part of the island that we hadn't seen before, and we stumbled upon this house that had a little like stand. I think they did laundry there, and they also had like a little. Like, they had, like, hair bands and stuff, and they had some clothing for sale, and we ended up having breakfast there at that place.
Oh, gosh, yes. We were looking for something else. We were looking for something you would research.
We were looking for baked goods.
It's baked goods, but it was a particular woman, right?
It was like cinnamon buns or cheese buns or something. I was looking for something.
Oh, that was at the other end of the island, wasn't it?
No. They were all over. Like, that was a thing I was reading about. So I subscribed to a couple of the food Facebook pages for Caye Caulker.
Shelly fully expected her vacation to be several hours of interviews with local chefs. And
no. I was hoping to do some of that, but I didn't. So maybe I will get a sponsor. If there's a sponsor out there who wants to send me back to Belize to document these food histories, I would love to. So that's an aside.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, though, that was weird. That very strange little store that had, like you said, clothes.
I'm gonna need at least a month to try and find these people because it was impossible to find places. There are no street names. 2 streets on the island have names now, and I think one is called Front Street and one is called Back Street.
I feel like there were other names.
There were no other names.
All right, I'll take your word for that. I feel like it would be redundant because I really do. I feel like I got to a point there where
it was charming.
It was utterly charming. But I swear you could probably just walk up to a door, knock on it, and somebody would agree to make you food.
Okay, so the meal that we had at that random place, somebody's house essentially, where they sold clothing and backpacks, that was really great.
Yeah, she was sort of confused, but she was like, maybe huevos rancheros for you?
Yeah. And it was
without a doubt, the very best incarnation of huevos rancheros I have ever enjoyed.
And some watermelon juice.
Fresh watermelon juice.
And that was lovely.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely.
So that was a kind of off the beaten path sort of thing. But then the antithesis of that would be right down the street from our house, from the Sunny Cabana.
Are we talking about the Grumpy Frenchman?
The Grumpy Frenchman. We've renamed your restaurant right down from Sunny Cabana. So there's a sign out on this kind of alley
there's
that
signs,
there's a sign, and then there's like this little awning, and you can go walk on, not awning, but
it's sort of, yes, exactly. It's sort of a path
like
down, but it's totally verdant. You're totally covered in trees as you go down. It's lovely, but it's this advert for this French restaurant and
bakery.
It talks about
like,
as well. I mean,
the stuff that they do and the lunch, breakfast,
and then there's
whatever.
a separate part that tells you, its hours of operation and how you can pay. I mean, it's really thorough.
Yeah. So you walk back on the property. We take a walk back. We bring our bikes back, and we're like back there, and we're like, hello. We're looking around, and there's like, it looks like there's some construction.
They're clearly building a new,
something.
Obviously a deck. I think a long, low deck over there.
But there's this house there. And a sort of balcony up above, like a porch up above.
And before we've arrived at that construction, there is then another sign to the restaurant.
Oh yeah,
again with everything in it, and again what delights you can expect.
And also, I want to mention, nothing says closed. Nothing says closed.
Oh, we haven't.
Nothing's covered or crossed out. It's just right there.
Or just unhooked off the sign.
They didn't take the signs down. They're there. It's like, whatever.
You may have gathered it was not open.
And this was at least 12 months, 14 months into the COVID pandemic. So plenty of time to haven't taken it down. We thought maybe it was put back up. Anyway, so we get back there. We're like, hello. And this grumpy Frenchman comes out on the balcony upstairs and is like, yes.
What do you want? Clearly we are closed.
And he's just like so confused that we're there.
I mean, he is Monty Python perfect. He really is. I mean, we bumped into him a few other times because he was one riding a giant bike around. But yet it was like all of those signs unhook.
We're closed. Does it look like we're open? Like, the signage.
We clearly we are closed. We do not open until December.
We have been there for at least...
And I wish that was a bad impersonation. I wish that was an embarrassing impersonation. But trust me, it's kind of on the nose.
But also, at the time, we had been there for 5 days. So we know, even if it looks closed, it might not be. Because this is freaking Caye Caulker in Belize. Like, that's how things look sometimes in the daylight. So we're not going to assume it's closed. Take your sign down. Anyway, so the Grumpy Frenchman, that was very exciting. Then we saw him, like, riding around on his big wheel bike.
Though I do suspect that might be a stretch of his property, because we also noticed that right behind our cabana looks like a pocket of wilderness, looks like a pocket of jungle wilderness, even though there's this property to the right that clearly extends back, and we know his property has rentals on it too, which were clearly being used. But so we thought that little bit of wilderness might be his, and I think it might be, although I don't know, there was somebody over here, it is not me.
He's hilarious.
But I remember, and I want to go there because Coco Plums?
Coco Plums, yes.
Coco Plums.
We also ate Coco Plums, which we could see from the balcony of our sunny cabana. And we eyed them up for a week. And then I was packing, I think, and Brett went down and
climbed over
figured out how to get them out of the tree. And
I freaked out one of those giant weird crabs, because as I climbed over, they were underneath that growth and everything.
Ghost ones that would walk across the street?
Yeah, the giant ghost ones.
Oh my God, they're so hilarious.
They're blue.
Oh my God, they're hilarious. They glow in the dark, I swear, but whatever. But the Coco Plums, so I can't remember what they were like. The texture was like marshmallow.
They were like about really the size of a really small apple. And they were round.
They were real pretty.
And they were marshmallowy white and pink. They were very pretty. They were very, very pretty.
They're kind of slightly purpley pink on the outside, and then on the inside, they were really sort of creamy, and you think it would be like a plum, and a plum has a little more consistency than this. This was more
It was sort of
tasty,
like if
but-
you imagine eating like we did a young coconut, and how the meat in that was that sort of still firm but creamy.
Yep.
And I feel like it was. I feel like these guys don't mess around with naming things.
Yeah.
So a Coco Plum tastes pretty much as it should. It tastes like a combination of those two.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like that sort of dense marshmallow texture of a young
it was
coconut.
really good.
Really tasty.
On my
Oh, on
birthday,
your
when
birthday,
all
sorry.
of us went to Wish Willey's, he made a key lime pie for my birthday. he made cake for my birthday. So
And
he brings this out.
Please let me preface this just a little bit. Again, you may remember my earlier description of this place, and it is wonderful. It is utterly rustic. The back of clearly the building he lives in, on the ground floor, is his kitchen. It's obviously a sizable and very effective kitchen. Outside there are beautiful native plants, but there's also two, maybe three giant grills that look like they've been made out of old boilers or something, or certainly tanks
Barrels,
of
yeah.
some kind. I think a barrel, and I think like a water tank or something. And then of course you have coolers for drinks that you help yourself to, and then kayaks and so on. So it does have this sort of
Picnic tables.
certain and
You eat at
picnic tables,
tables.
maybe with just some random.
There's cloth.
Fabulous
Yeah.
coloured flowered cloth on it.
Fabrics, yeah,
that
it's really nice.
Looks, and so it's that. And when we did go for the conch ceviche later, it just turns up in a Tupperware bowl, and he's sharing it.
Yeah.
He's dicking in himself. And to be fair, I can't blame him. It was freaking awesome, but it was that sort of aesthetic, and so he brings us key lime pie.
Yeah, and
Lovely.
it's like
Already
this,
cut into
it's got
slices.
this like crumbly crust, and yeah,
Just what
it's
you'd expect to
key
be found in
lime,
Florida.
cheesecakey, amazing, and it's cut into pieces, and so we each just take a piece off the plate and pass it around, and we were eating it with our hands. And he goes away because he drops it off. And he goes away, and he comes back with plates, and we're like pretty
Plates
much
and cutlery
done
is
with
like-
it. He's like, I was bringing you plates.
What are you? Animals?
We're just so easy.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, there was this one place called Namaste Café that had amazing sandwiches. The bread was just so good.
Oh my gosh, yes, it was.
And this melon salad and...
What was that weird sort of porridge that you had there? Was it
the
a
chia.
quinoa?
It was a chia. Chia
pudding?
pudding. Yes, it was a chia pudding. It was,
It was
so
really good.
It was so good. There was this other place called the Ice and Bean, which was our favorite place. And I've got this really amazing picture of
One
its...
of your favourite place.
Okay, it was a really great place.
It was a great place if you needed
I went
coffee.
there a bunch of times. They had coffee, but they also had these like mini donuts, and every time you walked in there, they'd be like, "Here, try our mini donut," and they would give you one, and it was amazing.
Yep.
And they also had these rum balls that were like truffles. They were so
They
amazing.
did not survive well.
No, and they had it was just so good. We just had
It's-
such a great, and the
it's
view
kind of
from this place, like they
absurd.
made these smoothies. So when we get the fry jack, I was like, let's go get a smoothie and sit at the beach. It was just freaking amazing. And so we brought our food. We got a smoothie. We went out to the patio
there
and
and just-
and they're like, do you need some hot sauce? Do you need a plate? Do you need some napkins? We're like, this isn't even your food. And they're like,
They
it's
don't care.
cool. It's fine. So it was really, and they had hammocks. Brett fell out of the hammock.
Hey,
oh,
man.
it was just such a great trip. So, okay, we need to go back there for like a month to really be able to explore and to see everything. That's my conclusion anyway. It was really amazing and lovely.
And we didn't even get to eat half the food. So
We didn't. We need to eat more food, yeah.
We need
But
more
it was really great for the post-pandemic or whatever this is that we're experiencing right now. I'm just so grateful that we got
at least a brief escape.
out of the house.
No, this is more than out of the house.
It was really, I mean, the beach was absolutely necessary. And we spent 8 days on this glorious island that was just so, like, low-key and, go slow and had some amazing food, met some amazing people, and had fun with our friends who are also amazing people.
What a wonderful bunch of kooks those guys turned out to be.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for such a great time in Belize. And if we think of anything else, we'll add it to the next podcast.
Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon.
With Bowl and Spoon is produced and mixed and hosted by me, Shelly Danko Day. Thanks to my co-host and partner in life, Brett Day. Original theme song was written and performed by Paul LaBreeze and friends. Special thanks to our friends Emily, Doug, Jamie, Elissa, Maddie, and Steph for letting us join in on their vacation. And thanks to everybody in Caye Caulker who shared their amazing home with us. You can listen to With Bowl and Spoon on Anchor, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Radio Public, all of the platforms, really. Follow us and send us questions or messages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at With Bowl and Spoon. Thanks for listening. See you next time.